Debut in the Premier League. A special report coming up. Newcastle United are leading the Premier League in exhilarating fashion. On their trail, though, are Liverpool with a young and very talented team. Our main feature, the match of the season so far. At Highbury, Arsenal have real hope too of mounting a championship bid. Today, though, they face a real challenge in the might of Manchester United. Two top-draw feature matches and all the goals to come. The people of Middlesbrough have welcomed Juninho with open arms, and with a new stadium in which to display his talents, football fever has gripped the local public here like never before. A Brazilian sports writer explains what Borough fans can expect from the new arrival.
We have Romario also and him, but people say in Brazil, Romario is good and Juninho is God.
Well, the tiny Brazilian has already made a massive impact then on the game back home. He's Brazil's Footballer of the Year, and none other than Pelé himself has dubbed Juninho the world's greatest player. But with such a slight frame, might the English game be too physical for him?
I think he'll fit in fine. I mean, a lot of people talk about the Brazilian skill. But I've played against Brazilians over the years and I've watched their football. And mentally, they're strong people. And football terms, they're tough. And I've seen it in Juninho. He might be small, but he's tough. And he can take knocks and everything. And, you know, he gets up and gets on with the game. He's not a diver. He wants to be the best player in the world. I know that by talking to him and his dad. So, to me, I hope he goes on to prove that he is the best player in the world, because that means he'll be a great asset to Middlesbrough Football Club.
Juninho is without doubt the English game's most sensational arrival from foreign shores. Many, though, are questioning his decision to join unfashionable Middlesbrough. But as Kevin Keegan believes, Juninho and Borough may yet confound their critics.
This Mickey taking about the North East and Juninho at Middlesbrough and David here and that, you know, I mean, people just might end up laughing on the other side of the face come the end of the season, because I think we've proved that both these clubs mean business, and we want to have some part of the action with the big boys, and we're determined to do that any way we can.
Juninho's long-awaited appearance on a football field in England was delayed a week by an administrative hitch, but he was cleared in time to start against Leeds at the Riverside Stadium. When the teams emerged, Juninho received a terrific reception. The luxurious Riverside Stadium resembled a sea of yellow, the national colours of Brazil, as Juninho warmed up for his much-awaited debut. A full house of 29,000 was soon drooling over his exquisite skills, and with just 11 minutes gone, he made his first notable contribution, a searching through pass, releasing Jan Piotr for a splendid opening goal. Juninho's vision, the weight of his pass, was certainly appreciated by the Norwegian goalscorer. As Juninho continued to impress, Piotr thought he'd scored again. But this time his effort was ruled out for a marginal offside decision against England international Nick Barmby. The poise and balance of Brazil's Player of the Year was so pleasing on the eye. This run ended in a chance for Barmby. Then Juninho, his confidence growing, set up Piotr again. But the Borough fans were silenced on the stroke of half-time by a Leeds equaliser. Their menace on the break, confirmed by Brian Dean's goal, collected from a cross by Noel Whelan. A setback for Borough. Their two newest fans, Juninho's parents, looked on in disappointment. As for their son, well, his next contribution was to earn his first booking in the Premier League. His caution, one of 7 in this game, resulting from a trip on Tony Yeboah. Juninho has arrived in English football. As for Yeboah, well, the Ghanaian hasn't scored in 8 matches now, but Leeds was still a threat. Gary McAllister, dominant in the second half, testing the reflexes of Gary Walsh in the Borough goal. Juninho, a constant source of irritation to Leeds, was seeking to extend their defence again. Richard Jobson's challenge was a fair one, though, in the eyes of the referee. Juninho was visibly wilting as the match wore on. This was a tame effort at the end of another teasing run. That was his last contribution of the game. With 12 minutes left, he was substituted to a standing ovation, replaced ironically by another South American, Jaime Moreno from Bolivia. Still Borough might have won it. Jamie Pollock's shot saved by John Lukic. Juninho could only look on now as his teammates strove for the winner. It wasn't to be. 1-1 the final score. But all in all, the manager was well satisfied with his Brazilian superstar.
I thought the first half he was excellent. You know, his vision and some of his passing was really good. And we were playing some really good, attractive football, which the fans were enjoying in the first sort of half hour of the game. But Leeds, they're a big, strong side, and they came back into it in the second half, and some of my players did really well to keep competing with them in the second half.
So, a confident debut, and the Middlesbrough faithful went home delighted. Our main feature matches to come, but first here's the news of the week. The champions Blackburn Rovers have signed England under-21 international striker Graham Fenton from Aston Villa, this for £1.5 million. Rovers manager Ray Harford is continuing to strengthen his struggling squad. Blackburn are sorely in need of a boost after their disappointing scoreless draw in the European Champions League match at home to Legia Warsaw. Their failure to win means they can no longer qualify for the quarter-finals. Everton's dreams of European glory are also over after a side defeated by injury suffered a 1-0 defeat by Feyenoord, the Dutch club, in Rotterdam. In the UEFA Cup, only Nottingham Forest have survived. Despite being held at home in the second leg, they went through thanks to Steve Stone's goal in Auxerre. Liverpool had the most possession at Anfield in their tie against Brøndby, but went down to a late goal. And Leeds were humiliated by Holland's PSV Eindhoven, going down 8-3 on aggregate after losing the away leg 3-0. The Premier League's one remaining representative in Europe, then, Nottingham Forest, will now meet another French club, Lyon, in the next round. Inter Milan's Paul Ince has once again been linked with a move back to England, this time to Bruce Rioch's Arsenal. But Ince says he's now settling in Milan and is much happier since Englishman Roy Hodgson recently took over as coach. Newcastle's out-of-favour right-back Mark Hottiger looks set to leave St James's Park. He wants regular first-team football to maintain his place for the Swiss national team. Another player who may be on the move is Everton's Anders Limpar. Manager Joe Royle is reluctant to lose the Swedish international, but Limpar's family have found it difficult to settle in the northwest. After much speculation, the highly rated defender Alan Stubbs is staying on with Bolton Wanderers. He has this week signed a new 3-year contract. The deal commits him to Bolton's survival fight this season. And finally, Matt Le Tissier is another player to pledge his future to his current club. The inspirational midfielder has agreed a year's extension to the 3-year arrangement he signed with Southampton in May. The club hope now this will end the speculation surrounding his future. And so on to our two top-of-the-table matches. From Newcastle, it's the league leaders against many experts tipped for the title, Liverpool. Then from Highbury, North London, it's fourth against second, Arsenal against Manchester United. Four of the biggest names in English football, occupying indeed the top 4 places in the Premier, are facing each other in front of capacity crowds. It's all sure to provide more terrific entertainment. So first to St James's Park, where Newcastle have won all their games this season. That achievement, though, is sure to be challenged by Liverpool. A victory for the Merseysiders would put Liverpool just 2 points behind Newcastle, who currently lead Manchester United by 2. It's a match everyone's been waiting for, none more so than your match commentator, Martin Tyler.
Kevin Keegan was unusually coy about naming his side, and that's because he sprung something of a surprise in the continuing absence of Lee Clark with Achilles tendon trouble. The versatile Steve Watson is preferred to Scott Sellers. It's Watson's first start in the league side this season. Liverpool lost their scoring touch and their place in the UEFA Cup on Tuesday, but otherwise their recent record is excellent. Roy Evans sticks with the same 11 who played in Europe. The presence of Jason McAteer and Stan Collymore on the bench indicates the keen competition for places, and there's no room at all for Neil Ruddock. The match of the season so far is underway. A real challenge to the league leaders. Liverpool, who played eye-catching football this season, talk around the country that the signs are right for a return to championship winning performances. Their goalkeeper, David James, a team that clearly still has room for further improvement, Liverpool, given the youth in the side. But Newcastle, who haven't won the league since 1927, want to be making some sort of historical statement in that respect. Interception by Lee. Here's the Frenchman, Ginola. Rob Jones came back. Ferdinand uses his strength on the left-hand side. Mark Wright tries to close him down. John Beresford can supply the cross. Rob Lee's in the centre. Comes here for Keith Gillespie. And it's in. Flying in was Ferdinand. They promised goals today, Newcastle United. And they've got an early one, and it's Les Ferdinand, who scored in every home game since he signed for the club. And it's only taken him a couple of minutes to extend that run. A mishit perhaps by Gillespie, but forwards have to go into that type of area for that type of opportunity. And if they keep running in, and Ferdinand's been doing that, it was a fortuitous finish, but it's a goal for Newcastle. A superb start, a good win today, and they really will feel that this is going to be their season. McManaman. Lots of room on the right for Jones, but it goes through more menacingly for Fowler, who feels that the goalkeeper got a touch. The referee says no. Well, Ferdinand has scored, and Fowler will be disappointed here that he hasn't scored, as Liverpool had a chance to equalise, and it did look as though it flicked off Shaka Hislop. No goal for Liverpool, but at least an indication that inroads can be made into the Newcastle defence, which is supposed to be their Achilles heel. It's not surprising, really, with Kevin Keegan picking so many attack-minded players, including his two full-backs, Barton and Beresford. And Steve Howe, one of the central defenders, used to be a striker. Well, Peter Beardsley is a sentimental guy and loves to see Liverpool, but he's also a realist and knows how important it is for Newcastle to beat Liverpool. They've made full use of the opening 10 minutes. McManaman. Here's Barnes. Harkness the outlet on the left. Newcastle haven't really covered that. And it might lead to a shot at goal here from McManaman, and Rush has scored 1-1. Well, that's a splendid reply. Newcastle always seem to be a man or two light in this situation. First down the left, then from the right, and then as Rush showed that he's lost none of his sharpness. Took a while to get going this season. Howie. Beardsley. Ferdinand to Lee. Made space for the shot, and a wonderful save. But for David James, Newcastle would have regained the lead. We still haven't had quarter of an hour. And it's thrill after thrill at St James's Park. Lee, and then the goalkeeping greatness of James. And a corner, which Beardsley will take. And James deals with it again. Well, Liverpool were fearful of challenging Lee as he moved into the penalty area. And he was actually given plenty of time to line it up, where he scored against Liverpool here spectacularly last season at the other end of the ground. He didn't score this afternoon. Beardsley looking to chip James. It's over the goalkeeper and over the bar. Well, it's breathtaking at the moment. And having been on the back foot, Newcastle pushing on again, and twice in a matter of seconds, really challenging Liverpool. First Lee, then Beardsley. And on the second occasion, the goalkeeper was grateful that the ball passed over the bar. Redknapp. Jones took it well. Fowler made space for his shot. Well, it's Liverpool's turn to look good again. Rob Jones from the right, Fowler letting it run across his body, but off target. Well, it's no exaggeration to say that it could be 3-3. With 17 minutes played, it is in fact 1-1. Gillespie's ball in, Wright got to it, Bab can't do much there, but except that it's going to be a corner to Newcastle with half an hour gone. Beardsley. Lee. And it's got the shot that gone wide, but suddenly the path cleared for Rob Lee here, and might well have been a foul off the ball by Peacock. Here's Fowler, Barnes, McManaman. Redknapp, who loves to shoot from long range, didn't hit it at all well. McManaman, it's a lucky ricochet for Liverpool. McManaman's made space for himself, another deflection, and Rush going in for what he thought would be a tap-in, and Shaka Hislop has finally made a splendid contribution all round here, because it looked as though he was beaten as it looped up off Peacock. The goalkeeper using all his 6'4" to get to the ball, helped by the post, and Rush just found the roll of the ball, taking it away from him. Lee. Seen off by Harkness. McManaman. Jones trying to move on down the right-hand side. Ginola got him in his sights, so it's Barnes joining in through the middle. And the willing Harkness again on the left. Fowler. Well, that was a fine try. Dropping well away from a position where you thought he could manufacture or magic up anything goalwards. Noble effort in the circumstances from Robbie Fowler. Beresford. Beardsley. And it's Redknapp in the right back position, and he wasn't really quick enough. Ginola. James came a long way trying to get back. Wright wins the aerial battle crucially against Ferdinand. The goalkeeper was still trying to get back in position. Here's Lee. Gales was there that time. Suddenly, the Newcastle voices around the ground, more than 30,000 of them, find extra power. They thought the team had found some extra power. But here comes Rush, and back come Liverpool. McManaman. Oh, and still, he's made it for himself, has he? Oh, he's challenged by Lee. Might read the referee. Had a look. McManaman felt he'd been fouled. When it seemed as though he was going to be crowded out in the first place, suddenly he came up with the ball, and then Newcastle came up with Lee. You just feel in the last quarter of the game, the crowd urging them on that Newcastle will have opportunities. But if Liverpool keep playing as they have been doing, surely they will as well. Redknapp is leaning back as he struck it, and the ball looked for a second as if it was going to dip under Hislop's bar, but it kept on rising, and it's still 1-1 as it has been since Ian Rush's equaliser in the 11th minute. Oh, Barton gave it to Harkness. Collymore, now a chance. This is where he loves it, to run against Peacock, and he couldn't get past it. Maybe it came just a little bit too quickly, having come on. But you can see straight away the different type of attacking approach, the pace that might lead to an individual breakthrough. Liverpool have a corner. 14 minutes to go. Harkness. Barnes flipping it delightfully over the head of Lee. And Barnes able to get the cross in. Wright goes in with the header. It was an opportunity for Liverpool. And Barnes yet again involved. He's been simply splendid today. But Mark Wright just off the target. McManaman. Fowler's stayed down after a bit of rough and tumble with Beresford. Barnes. Redknapp. Fowler's back on his feet and moving well, and suddenly very much involved. Robbie Fowler for Liverpool. Hislop palmed it down. Collymore trying to get there. Albert away only as far as Barnes. McManaman back with Fowler. Collymore coming in! Any contact then, and he might have written the headlines for himself, Stan Collymore. Well, all the major scares in the second half have been to Hislop's goal. Ginola. Mike Reid having to make some unpopular decisions. Collymore's pass, and Robbie Fowler is free. It's round Hislop. Well, Peacock was back to guard the line, but he wasn't required. All stemming from the play on as Ginola claimed a foul. Collymore's pass was a class one. Foul around the goalkeeper and then losing his footing at the crucial stage. Ferdinand. Watson. Beresford's got some room. Albert. Well, the game had such a dramatic start. Is it going to finish the same way? Babs header away. Collected by Lee. Turns Barnes. Tries to chip. James does tip James. And like Beardsley in the first half, just gets too much on it. Imaginative effort from Rob Lee. And Terry Venables takes it all in. And a header to be won there by Mark Wright. He's missed so little. We're into the 90th minute with Newcastle on the attack. Wright heading away again. Only as far as Lee. It's a great try. The goalkeeper's lost it. Newcastle have scored through Steve Watson. Late drama here. A splendid start to the match for them. And a fantastic finish. James will be cursing this. But Watson came in, and the player, the surprise pick today, has justified the selection for the league leaders. Well, he does so many different jobs for the side when required. Centre midfield to start with, right midfield when Gillespie went off, and striker had a splendid time. And here's Ginola, and James this time has clung on. If he'd saved it like that earlier, Liverpool would have got something. As it is, they've lost. It's a big win for the leaders. A difficult game for them, but a fantastic outcome secured by Steve Watson, showing the depth in Kevin Keegan's squad. Newcastle have triumphed today. They keep their 100% home record in most dramatic style. Steve Watson has secured the points, and it's Newcastle United 2, Liverpool 1.
Last year you got a 1-1 at home against them. This year you've beaten them, if somewhat fortuitously. Do you feel there is a difference about the situation, because this was the time last year when things started to go wrong for you, and here you are, as I say, 5 points clear?
Yeah, well, if we keep doing things right, I mean, today was a real test of character. You know, there aren't many sides around like Liverpool, but you've just got to stand up and be counted. And I thought, to be fair to the players, what I liked about the Rob Lees and the Steve Watsons and the David Ginolas and the Keith Gillespies, they kept picking wrong selections, they kept making mistakes, but they kept wanting the ball. You know, the worst thing is if they go out there and hide. I had plenty of those sort of players when I first come here. I've got none now, and that's maybe why we're top of the league.
Roy, that must be very, very hard to digest.
Very much so. I can't compare the way we've performed magnificently. We've been absolutely brilliant out there. Lost an early goal and lost a late goal, which is very disappointing, especially the way we played. We've controlled it in between them periods. Okay, we haven't put the ball in the back of the net, but the display was absolutely magnificent.
At Highbury, the arrival of Bruce Rioch has pumped fresh life into Arsenal. Now, though, they're facing Manchester United. The game comes just days after Arsenal played at, of all places, Bolton, Bruce Rioch's former club. Rioch received a tumultuous welcome from the fans at Burnden Park, this for a man who guided the club into the Premier League. For the game with Arsenal, Yugoslav Sasa Srček was making his debut after moving from Partizan Belgrade. Bolton, second to bottom, were in dire need of the win. Highlights come now from Alan Parry.
There's a great ball for Wright. And the cross was dangerous, and Bergkamp must have been inches away. Bergkamp held her. Brilliant save.
Cracking save.
There's a good ball. McGinley. McGinley, foul surely. Oh! The referee allowed play to go on. Srček hit a terrific shot, and the new man could have been celebrating a goal on his debut. Glenn Helder had a good match tonight. Looked dangerous throughout, and does so again here. Good ball. Winterburn. Oh dear.
A memorable second league win for Bolton, while Arsenal wasted the chance to go third. Now for Arsenal, it's Manchester United, who've been ominously impressive of late. Here with the latest team news, match commentator Paul Dempsey.
Arsenal make one change for the starting 11, beaten at Bolton. David Platt in from the kick-off here for the first time since the end of August after knee surgery. Ian Wright's been doing the bulk of the scoring so far with 11, but Dennis Bergkamp's got 6 so far, week by week looking more and more comfortable as an Arsenal player. Alex Ferguson here marks the 9th anniversary of his arrival as Manchester United boss. A side unchanged for the 3rd game in a row. Manchester United are on a run of 4 straight victories, right on the shoulder of the leaders. They also haven't been beaten by Arsenal in 8 meetings, home and away. Our match referee is Paul Durkin, and this is one of the highlights of the developing race for the championship in England so far this season. Been a good ground here at Highbury for Manchester United, but Arsenal have a certain steel and style about the way they've begun the season, although Steve Bowles was under some pressure there in the opening exchanges, and Martin Keown helped tidy it up ahead of the challenge of Andy Cole. Now Merson, first touch for him, and Giggs slotting back to try and close off the space in front of him. Irwin across to Gary Neville, and a first touch for Peter Schmeichel. Bruce Rioch has John Hartson and John Jensen on the bench today, and this is Paul Scholes with a bit of a space in front of him. Good ball into Nicky Butt. Oh, it only needed a touch as it flashed across in front of David Seaman. The two youngsters in concert, and it needed something in the middle, and Manchester United could well have had the early lead here. I think Andy Cole will regard that as an opportunity missed. Mercer. Flat down the line and one for Bergkamp to chase, but Owen looks the favourite here. Except that Bergkamp squeezed himself in there. And with that, Arsenal have the lead. It's the 7th goal of the season for Dennis Bergkamp. And after a few weeks of struggle, it's starting to look very easy for him. This is a rare mistake by Dennis Irwin, the fullback, all at sea, and Schmeichel unable to save his embarrassment. Irwin may just have been clipped from behind by Bergkamp as they both raced for possession, but Bergkamp was so cool when one-on-one with the keeper. We don't see too many like that from Dennis Irwin. Now Arsenal are beginning to flood forward here. Bergkamp again found lovely space for himself, and Schmeichel was at full stretch and needed help from Gary Neville. He just drops off so well off the front player, and when he gets in his turn, he's a real handful. Keane took his time and then picked out Irwin. Manchester United with plenty of men forward here. Dennis Irwin could try one himself, and it wasn't missing by much as he sought to make amends for his earlier error. He's a lovely striker of the ball, Irwin, and gets a fair share of goals from full-back. Seaman was stretching for that one. Cantona. Cole came short for him. Neville. Cantona once more from Keane, and Cole took him a good position. Was he offside? Yes, it won't count. How he buried it. But he just gambled on getting the wrong side of Tony Adams. And he gambled a little too much as Cantona picked him out. But Arsenal's defenders were looking anxiously to the linesman. Bit loose from Keane. Ian Wright seized on it. Options left and right. Wright went alone. And Schmeichel wasn't taking any chances. There was some poor defending there from Manchester United. And Schmeichel's letting the players in front of him know about it. There's only ever one thought in Ian Wright's mind when given the invitation to come forward. Now, Manchester United trying to build up a head of steam here. This is Ryan Giggs. Plenty of bodies in the box. One of them was Cantona. Cole's there as well. Keown didn't clear it. Andy Cole. A very, very important block applied by Nigel Winterburn. And Seaman is happy to concede a corner. Good work from Winterburn to get himself across in front of his keeper. Giggs with it. Bruce waiting. It's beyond him. Pallister got it though. Pallister again. Bowles has time to tidy up. Glenn held there. Keane stopped him making further progress, but he's a very useful wide outlet for Arsenal. This is the earlier scramble, and Cole just for a second his favourite. Winterburn doggedly refusing to be denied. Scholes showed too much of it to Helder. Flat, foraging from the middle of the park. Bergkamp with space, and this is the danger area where Dennis Bergkamp's concerned. Merson. So many Arsenal bodies in the box. Great save from Schmeichel to deny Ian Wright. They look a real force coming forward. Good sportsmanship from Wright. Lovely football. Options are plenty for Bergkamp. Merson's pinpoint cross. Wright's accurate header. There's a real danger about Arsenal coming forward at the moment. And more danger. Tony Adams is looking for the bits and pieces. This is the delightful cross from Merson, who picks out Wright in a crowded area, and he gets his jump on Gary Neville. Schmeichel had to be at his best. Off the shin of Platt, and there's a momentary hesitation. Adams got there. Now Irwin. Here come Manchester United again with Cantona. Keane. Plenty of people in the box. What is Andy Cole? That's a real chance. It's a great move by Manchester United. Cole was clattered into by Seaman. But this is meat and drink for Andy Cole as a striker. Cantona has the guile. Keane has the power to make the run, and Cole is in on goal. And that is a chance missed. Well won by Beckham. And again, he stood it up well too. Platt tried to clear his lines but couldn't really. Keown tried to help him. Still Beckham. Still Dave Beckham. Still Dave Beckham. Great run. Very important block from Steve Bow. Wonderful work from the youngster Beckham. Now Giggs. Manchester United have so many bodies in the box. Seaman almost presents it to Beckham again. And Adams is very cruel. Well, somehow Arsenal have survived that siege. But it's one-way traffic at the moment. Keane. Did well. But the cross wasn't what Manchester United were looking for. You can hear the unease around at Highbury from the home fans. But Bolton and Adams have been able to steer Arsenal to safety at times, and there's whip for Bergkamp here. Good ball out from Dixon. Lee Sharp's the chasing player. Bergkamp held it off so well. Bruce kept Wright out. Bergkamp to Helder this time. Helder drifting across to help out. Giggs did so well defensively there. Cantona looking at Giggs again. Here is Ryan Giggs, looking somewhere near his best in this match. Cole. Cantona made the run. It was worth the effort. This was the earlier chance as Ryan Giggs jinked to the byline, and David Seaman bravely down at the feet of David Beckham, who's made a big impression as a substitute. This is Paul Merson, played in by Bergkamp. Merson did so well to keep it alive, and he's got the pace. Has he got the delicacy? Almost! It would have been a wonderful goal. It still can come for Arsenal. Well, real quality. And so close Arsenal to what surely would be a decisive second. Now Keane leads Manchester United forward. This is wonderful work from Merson. His own tackle to win it, he had the pace and power, and then the delicacy to sit the ball up above Schmeichel. It came back off the post, and that took it away from Platt. Manchester United have striven so well to get this goal back in this game. But the points are Arsenal's. The first win for the Gunners over Manchester United in 5 years, thanks to Dennis Bergkamp's 7th of the season. David Seaman had to be at his best to deny Manchester United, but there's a style and panache about the Gunners coming forward that bodes well for the rest of the campaign. The last time Arsenal beat United, they went on to lift the title, and who knows, it may be an omen for the championship race to come. Arsenal 1, Manchester United 0 at Highbury.
Manchester City fans have had precious little to enthuse over this season, so you can excuse them celebrating on Saturday as if the cup final had been won. Their first league goal at Main Road since the opening day of the season arrived in the 11th minute, delivered past Keith Brannigan by Nick Summerby. It followed some intricate skill from Irish international Niall Quinn and cool work too from the Georgian Kincladze. Summerby's first of the season was only City's 4th in the Premier. They nearly struck again too a little later, Kincladze demanding a fingertip save from Brannigan. That one goal proved enough though for City's first Premier success of the season and provided lads some welcome respite for their beleaguered manager Alan Ball.
It is nice to win a game of football. I thought it was never going to come. But all credit to the lads, you know, after the thumping last week, to pick themselves up and work really hard, which they've done this week, and come out and win. It's a good feeling and it's a good dressing room.
David Boost will certainly remember Coventry's recent Coca-Cola Cup win over Saturday's league opponents Tottenham. Having been credited with an own goal, he later scored at the right end as his team staged a thrilling recovery. Coventry had come back from a 2-goal deficit that night, but this time Ron Atkinson's side took up the early initiative for themselves. Coventry ahead on 7 minutes through Dion Dublin from Kevin Richardson's through pass. Spurs were reeling at that stage, but rallied with a stirring riposte midway through the half. First a goal for Rule Fox, after Clive Wilson's free kick had been headed on by Teddy Sheringham. 5 minutes later, it was Sheringham's name on the league score sheet for the 12th time this season, after a superb finish. Such quick thinking from the England striker, sensing that Coventry goalkeeper John Phelan was off his goal line. The second half was barely underway when Spurs struck again for a third goal. Sheringham's intelligent work releasing Ronnie Rosenthal, and although his cross was partially blocked, David Howes was still able to extend Tottenham's lead. Coventry lifted themselves again though and pulled the goal back soon after. The cross from Marcus Hall was headed out by Howes and delivered back past Ian Walker for Paul Williams' first goal in a Coventry shirt. Spurs the winners though by 3-2. At the Dell, Matt Le Tissier celebrated his new contract with Southampton by producing his best display for a number of matches. His team off to a rousing start against Rangers with a goal after only 90 seconds. Defender Jason Dodd making the most of an error from Simon Barker. Southampton were mainly in control. Le Tissier almost embarrassed Rangers goalkeeper Jurgen Sommer when he pounced on a weak clearance and scraped the bar with a typically impudent strike at goal. Southampton were always looking likely to extend their lead, and another chance came their way when Rangers had a man sent off with just under a quarter of an hour to go. David Bardsley dismissed for elbowing Neil Heaney. The situation was tailor-made for Le Tissier, and he duly obliged with another wonderful goal to add to his impressive collection. Southampton worthy winners by 2-0. Romanian Dan Petrescu's transfer from Sheffield Wednesday to Chelsea has been delayed. Although his move wasn't cleared in time for him to play against his former club at Stamford Bridge, he was though still introduced to the crowd beforehand. Chelsea had the better of the first half chances, but without reward for their endeavour. This was Dennis Wise, prompted by Ruud Gullit, bringing the best out of Wednesday's excellent goalkeeper Kevin Pressman. It wasn't all one way, though. Only Mark Bright can tell you how he managed to waste this opportunity. Ruud Gullit had been switched to an attacking midfield role for Chelsea. And next he set up Mark Steen for a chance that he really should have scored from. Pressman to the rescue again. Wednesday's impact, meantime, was growing. Chris Waddle watched in anguish as his audacious chip came back off a post. The match ended without a goal. Without the injured John Moncur, West Ham lacked their usual rhythm at Upton Park, and Aston Villa took advantage of their off day to record an emphatic victory. First on 34 minutes, a goal from Savo Milosevic, who's been struggling to make an impact with his new club. There was only one side in it after the interval as Villa asserted their authority. And 5 minutes into that second half, it was 2-0, courtesy of a cracking goal from Tommy Johnson. Dwight York helped to create it for him. A stunning shot then from Johnson that gave Ludek Miklosko little chance in the West Ham goal. A few minutes later, York's 8th of the season steered the game beyond West Ham's reach. Another excellent goal from a player whose form has been a revelation this season. West Ham at least staged a brief revival. As the post and VAR came to Villa's rescue, this was Michael Hughes, unlucky with this one. West Ham was still in serious trouble. Not an easy time for their new signing John Harkes, the American from Derby, to make his entrance as a substitute. But the home team were given a glimmer of hope 6 minutes from time, earning a penalty when Ugo Ehihog handled in the area. Julian Dix signed off for his 3-match suspension by dispatching his kick past Mark Kosmich. But Villa still had the final word. More diligent work from York, paving the way for a second by Milosevic with only seconds left. Villa convincing winners by 4-1. Blackburn's European campaign is over after their home draw then with Legia Warsaw in midweek, but success at Goodison Park would help Ray Harford's team revive their domestic season. Everton had other ideas though. On this first meeting with Rovers since their Charity Shield win over the champions, and they were ahead on 23 minutes, a goal from Graham Stewart that stemmed from the perseverance of Andrei Kaczynskis. Sadly, the game was living down to gloomy pre-match expectations, with Rovers offering little in attack, and indeed they might have conceded another goal, Tim Flowers pulling off a fine save from Paul Rideout. But for Flowers, Blackburn would have lost more heavily. This time he was good enough to touch an Anders Limpar shot onto the crossbar. 1-0 the final score. This was Everton's first win in the Premier since August. Glancing through the weekend results, the 2 matches involving the top 4 couldn't have been tighter. Narrow wins for Newcastle and Arsenal. Tottenham at Coventry and Aston Villa at West Ham achieved the only away wins in the Premier. What relief at Main Road for Manchester City with at last their first league success of the season. Alan Ball's team are still bottom of the Premier, but now only 2 points behind Coventry, who themselves have won only once, and that against City. After their defeat at Main Road, Bolton are still without an away point this term. Everton's win over Blackburn lifts them to 13th. Newcastle are now then very much the championship favourites, with their lead over Manchester United extended to 5 points. Arsenal in 3rd place are closing in, with Liverpool dropping to 4th after losing at St James's Park. Aston Villa have climbed above Middlesbrough, and also Nottingham Forest, who on Monday are at home to Wimbledon. It was a weekend then for the northeast of England to savour. At the Riverside Stadium, they were celebrating the arrival of a world superstar as the boy from Brazil, Juninho, stepped out to wow his new fans on his Middlesbrough debut. While 60 miles or so along the coast, unsung hero Steve Watson was making Newcastle's day in that dramatic finale against Liverpool. Nottingham Forest are still the only unbeaten team in England's 4 divisions. They've gone a record 24 Premier